Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
Clovercrest Media Group presents a CMG podcast, Keys to the City.
Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know.
Crossed up by Kobe, little floater to Shaq, and then Shaq goes like this, and the rest is history. Pay attention. Don't tell me what to do, devil woman. But speaking of those Lakers, hold on. But I didn't make I said Denver's gonna win. Yeah, you did. You said that.
There's no other show like that. Clovercrest is doing great things right now.
Streaming everywhere. Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clovercrest, top three corner man, punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, locked it in every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Slide a hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut got you missing weight, feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint from a feint. Take a stand and eight, then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move, bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes, there's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round, bells ringing, counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bringing crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry, it's curtains. From scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is throwing jabs.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Throwing Jabs, Combat Sports Podcast. I'm Big J, joined by Joe Guire and Jared Jones. And we need to start things off by recapping the big pay-per-view last weekend. Adesanya retains his UFC middleweight title with a unanimous decision victory over Robert Whittaker. Joe, you didn't see it that way, though?
No, the fight went 3-2 to Whittaker. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. The guy that had it 49-46 again was clearly listening to the UFC feed. Adesanya did very little in the fight. He got the fifth round alone, he got tagged 3 different times, and he was lucky he didn't get knocked out in the fight. So listen, I understand he's the champ, and you got to take the belt away from the champ, and he just signed a big contract for all that money, and he's the face of the UFC, and maybe you got to go in there and knock that guy out then. But you'd have I'll sit there and watch the fight with you, and we can score it after each round. You tell me that round, explain how you gave more than one round to Israel Adesanya. Other than the knockdown of the first round, he did nothing. In the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, nothing. I was being nice when I gave him a second round. I had a hard time justifying what that second round was, let alone a third, or like that insane 49-46 guy. You saw him winning 4 rounds? What? Listen, here's the strategy to beat Israel Adesanya. You're like, he ran from him all fight. The idea is that you don't stand in front of the guy because he'll destroy you. So that's the reason why Whittaker moved. He constantly was bringing the pressure in this fight. Izzy also is a counterpuncher. So he wants you to throw a punch so he can throw back. Sorry, he looked much more impressive in the loss to Blachowicz. This was him
Okay.
Basically holding court. Listen, Jared, he's the champ. And I think the expectation is you got to blow that guy out. Whitaker didn't blow him out. But again, if there was no belt involved, this was an easy 3-2-4-1 for Whitaker. Put it to you like this. If this would have been the first fight when Whitaker was the champ, Adesanya doesn't even come close to winning the fight or taking that belt away from him.
I don't know about that. I mean, just
brother, if Whitaker was the champion going into that fight, and that's what Adesanya did, and they gave him the belt, people would be screaming their faces off that was bullshit.
No, I mean, it's just I don't understand this. I mean, sure, the commentary, you can say all you want about, but still, he outstruck him. Adesanya landed more, destroyed that leg. Ask Whitaker the next day.
Destroyed the leg. Whitaker was still bringing it in the last. I mean, Whitaker was fine.
He was. He's a tough guy, but still.
Well, to suggest he destroyed the leg would suggest that he would be struggling to walk on it. And instead, he was still in there delivering a beating in the 5th round.
Whitaker, I'll give Whitaker the shots to the head. He landed more. He could have put Izzy to sleep. Maybe. That's how he needed to win this fight. But everywhere else, Adesanya ate him up. Controlled the ring, attacked that leg, went to the body. Whitaker could barely get in on his kicks. So I don't know what you're talking about, Joe, to be quite honest with you. Adesanya is a GOAT. He is the future of the UFC.
Right, there you go. He's a GOAT. You're in love with the guy. You can't get over Israel Adesanya didn't do enough to win the fight. He just didn't. Sorry. There's a reason after the fight. Listen, Robert Whitaker is probably the most honest guy in the sport.
Yeah.
Okay? He actually said in a different situation, him and Adesanya would be mates. It's the kind of guy he is. They asked him about it. He said, I thought I did enough. I thought he did plenty. So
there's common law in Vegas. Maybe if they fight a third time, they could be mates. Joe, I think you're bugging here. He outstruck him by 24. He outthrew him by 37. Significant strikes, 20, landed 20 more, threw 30 more. I'm not going to say this was an overwhelmingly dominant performance, but I think he did enough to win. And I think more importantly, Robert Whitaker did everything right. If he was going to beat Adesanya, this is how he was going to do it. He did everything we said he needed to do, 100% of what we said he needed to do. This guy went out there like he watched the show and we were his trainers because he did everything right and lost 3-2. I'm not okay really with that 4-1. I mean, I am 4-1. I'd rather see 4-1 on Adesanya is a better card than 4-1 Whitaker. And I won the fight.
You would really. I would love to watch that fight with both of you, and you tell me how you scored those rounds. And if we're done and everybody's scoring at 48-47 or 49-46, maybe I'm an idiot. I'm telling you. I watched that fight. I watched it a second time. I watched it was like an overhead camera with no commentary, and I thought, oh, this is kind of neat. And as the second round ended, I thought, oh, because I thought when I watched the fight that Adesanya won that second round, and now I feel a little differently. And then I watched the third round, and I had, and I'll tell you what, the guy that was filming it at the end of the third round said, I got 2-1 Whitaker. And then, I don't know about you guys, I thought Whitaker brought it in the 4th and 5th like nobody's business. So again, I saw 4-1 Whitaker. If you want to argue he's the champ, that's fine, but this was not a great win for Israel Adesanya. The idea that he's lapped the division twice now, he's got to fight Whitaker again. Sorry, I don't know when that's going to happen, but this gave me a feeling of, I got to see Whitaker and him go at it again, because I think if Whitaker's really got to bring the pressure for 5 rounds to show Jace and people like that, then so be it. But I think there's got to be a third fight now.
This is an Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk situation. It really is, because Joshua's in a position where he can not outbox the guy from the outside. He's going to lose a close decision if he tries to outbox him from the outside. And if he gets in there and trades with him, it's going to get worse. This was the best. This is as close as it's going to get for Whitaker. He fought the perfect fight, and I don't need to see it again. Adesanya's better.
No, Joe, you want to know? You sound like me when I'm talking about Holloway and the Volkanovski fights, bro. And I get now. I see your stance on Volkanovski there, but I mean, sometimes that's just how it is. Look at the Canelo Triple G fights. Look at how close those are. I mean, you have two great guys like this. Stuff like that's gonna happen.
I'll give you Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez. Watch the fights. Watch the fights. Juan Manuel Marquez, you could make the argument, just like Triple G. You can make the argument those guys won the fights.
Yeah, and I mean, John Jones, Gustafsson. I mean, same thing. Like, there's all these great ones, but I think the reason why we won't get another fight from another Whitaker Adesanya, unless Adesanya completely goes through Strickland, goes through Cannonier, goes through everything, is because Adesanya has that knockout. He's already has that notch in his belt. He's already done. He's already bested the best you could best of Robert Whitaker to take the belt.
Exactly. And
so I don't.
Robert Whitaker.
I don't need to see a third fight.
Robert Whitaker isn't Nate Diaz. He's not McGregor. He's not Masvidal. You know, he's not a name that inspires. Ooh, I want to see that guy fight. And knowing that to win, he can't pressure, and beat the other guy down. It's just not very exciting. It's not the fight that's like, ooh, I really got to see that Robert Whitaker Izzy 3. Even the other fights we're comparing him to were really exciting fights.
I have no interest in watching Adesanya fight Jared Cannonier. I have no interest in watching him destroy Sean Strickland. None of those guys are going to give him a fight. They're not even in his league. There's one guy in his league, and that guy edged him Saturday night. His name is the Reaper, Robert Whitaker. There you go.
Edge him, Joe.
There's not another guy in that division that could even come close to what Robert Whitaker did on Saturday night.
Someday,
not another guy in the division.
We'll find out who, but someday there will be.
It'll be Robert Whitaker, beginning of 2023. It's going to be another fight between these guys, and it'll be very well deserved.
What's his name right there? My guy with the spinning back elbow. Is that the same weight class?
Oh no, that's light heavy. Prohaska, you're thinking of?
There you go.
That's light heavy, and we will keep the light heavy. But I will say, could Whitaker be Adesanya's sonnet to Silva? Like, bringing out the best in him, the best of the division, but you just can't get over that hump.
This is your Marvin Vettori here, Joe. This is just another version of that. Yeah, and we'll see it till you're comfortable that we don't.
Yeah, but listen, here's the thing: the first Marvin Vettori fight, again, I think he won that fight going away. It was an easy 2-1. I don't think anybody watching it wants to dispute me on that. It was an easy 2-1. Okay, Izzy was the name. Izzy got the win. That's fine. The second fight with Vettori seemingly regressed, gave him less of a fight, and was less impressive than in the first fight. So Izzy winning fight 2, that was an easy one. Okay?
Yeah, but you're talking about Whitaker like he's the Italian.
He is the Italian in this case. I understand that. Listen, he lost his first fight, so he really needed to go out there and dominate. He really needed to go out there, and he needed to prove that he could even hang with Israel Adesanya. I think he more than did that.
Oh, sure. But this is the my little brother Joel conversation where you don't go 2-0 and then we need a trilogy. It's not how it works.
But if I'm the number 2 guy in the world and you're 1, then it's a little bit different. I'm not the number 8 guy that you've beaten twice.
No.
I'm still the number 2 guy in this division. What am I supposed to do? Go away? You don't want me to get another fight with this guy? You want him to fight the bum of the month club? That's all right.
If Cannonier is next for Adesanya, and I think he should be, then why is
he should be
next for Whitaker?
Yeah. And what's going to happen is Adesanya is going to beat the crap out of Cannonier, and Whitaker's going to destroy Strickland, and we're going to be right back in the same boat. Like, who should Adesanya fight now?
Yeah,
the obvious guy being Whitaker, and we'll try to find someone else for Izzy to beat up. Because I know we all want him to beat Silva's records. Let's be honest. Everybody wants that.
Or Mighty
Mouse
records,
we don't want to
anybody like that, man. Silva was impressive.
Or Mighty Mouse.
He was
Mighty
very
Mouse's
impressive.
records.
Yeah. He was very impressive.
Great.
But I will say.
I guess Sander can read the future now.
No, Sanders right. Sanders right.
Okay.
But listen. If they won't give Amanda Nunes and Shevchenko a third fight, why would they give Adesanya Whitaker a third fight?
They won't give, or Nunes won't agree to a third fight with Shevchenko.
Yeah, Shields won't fight Savannah Marshall either. Talk about it. Doesn't want anything to do with it.
I mean, you're telling me the UFC wouldn't want two of the greatest female fighters of all time to fight a third fight, knowing that the older one might be retiring in a few years? Dude, you wouldn't want that fight again?
I think Vittori Whitaker, let's get that so Joe can figure out who he more wants to be mates with.
That would definitely be a fight I'd be interested in.
Me too.
Whitaker Vittori. I'd like that to happen. If we can get that before the end of the year. Around Christmas would be great.
All right. But before we move on from this, I do want to preview a little bit of the fight that is probably going to be next for Adesanya. Adesanya Cannonier. Joe, I know you said you don't want to see it, but can Cannonier land something explosive maybe?
No. Any other questions? No. My answer is unequivocally no. So ask another question.
No, if Whitaker can take
if Adesanya slips on a banana peel, can Cannonier knock him out? Yes. I'll answer that.
Adesanya, you don't think Cannonier can land some?
No.
He's got the athleticism.
Oh, you know what?
Trying,
and I'm sure he'll jump before the fight, and that'll make everything all right.
I'm trying. Jared, I mean, he's got your name, Jared. Any Jared love there?
No, I don't like the guy from Subway either. Listen, Cannonier probably deserves the shot right here, but for me, it's that's a $5 footlong fight. It's not. It doesn't have the same. Especially after what Whitaker did to Cannonier, it doesn't seem like, oh, that's the next guy. Like that was 3 fights. He's 2 wins removed from Whitaker beating him by decision. So, yeah, that's probably the next step. It's the next guy who deserves it. And yes, Bum of the Month Club is where we're at. It's not another Whitaker because it's not going to be exciting. If he'd come out and lost with those same scorecards, and we'd seen a Holloway Qatar type of fight, give me 6 of those. Give me Vasquez Morales, all of them,
So you would rather see, just so I'm clear, you would rather see Adesanya take fights against Strickland, Cannonier, and guys he's definitely going to dispatch quick, as opposed to another competitive fight with Robert Whitaker. That's all I'm asking.
I think Cannonier's
that's what you guys want.
Yes.
That's fine.
Jake mentioned Cannonier's athleticism, Strickland's wrestling, and size. There are things that these other guys bring to the table than watching a fight where I know Whitaker has to stay at distance to win.
But they all have to stay at distance to win.
But they might not, and that's exciting.
Yeah, ask Paul Acosta how that goes. Not a good idea. Don't do that.
No, do that. It's exciting. Don't
fight this guy in a phone booth. You're gonna lose.
Fights.
I'm not gonna.
Right, you want it. Hold on.
Johnny Walker, because he
pulled the
shit out of me. You watch the highlight reel, you can see every strike he threw if he wins.
So you want to see Adesanya knocking some people out is what you're asking for.
Or somebody, or if Strickland takes him down and he struggles with him and he looks like Little Jan, then yeah, like I want to see something else though. A fight I assume is going to be a boring technical fight where I'm 92% sure who's going to win. No, I don't need to see that a third time around. That's what I thought I was going to get the first 2 times, and that's what I got.
Joe, I don't want to stay at home watching the same movie over and over again on Netflix. I want to go out to the theater, grab some popcorn, and see what's new. I don't want to keep seeing Whitaker versus Adesanya. Dude.
Far too many times. Great movie. Nobody should see it.
Like this is
guys.
this
Listen,
is the peak of
there's about 4
Adesanya.
movies that come out a year that are worthy of awards and the adoration that they get. And I would rather go out and see that movie twice than to go see some piece of crap movie that I'm not that interested in. So I'm sorry. I would rather watch Adesanya fight Whitaker every single week for the rest of the year than to watch any of those other fights.
If we do that, we're going to need a bigger boat.
I mean, dude, I don't know. Maybe.
By the way, I'm also not the only person on the planet that thinks Whitaker won this fight. So you guys are acting like there's something wrong with me. I've been hearing from a lot more people, especially after I brought it up, that are like, well, now that I'm really watching this thing.
No, I mean, if you go back and look at it, it is definitely closer. I mean, the 49-46, that's wild. But you wouldn't want to see.
Listen, hold on.
Fight.
By the way, I like Yuri Prohaska, but you guys hold on. Am I reading this right? Prohaska should somehow go down in weight when he's probably next up for the championship at light heavyweight. You want him to drop down and fight Adesanya. Think about how stupid that sounds. Please.
If he's going to drop down,
you're mostly inexperienced in the UFC. You know what you should do? Get out of the division you're in.
Usman comes up and fights Adesanya. If we're playing this fantasy game.
Yes.
That's never going to. They're buddies. They're not going to do that.
But
they're not going to do that.
The fantasy game.
The Klitschko's. If we're playing that game.
Yeah, I mean, the best.
If Izzy goes up, Izzy doesn't win the fight. He doesn't
now's
beat
the right
Prohaska.
time.
He couldn't beat Blachowicz.
Teixeira now. Maybe because Teixeira's old, but I think Teixeira could just wrestle him. Wrestle him and submit him.
Stay where he is and be one of the greatest of all time. I think he proved that a guy that the size makes that much of a difference. The champion at that weight class will usually do what was done to him. He should stay where he is. Bum of the month. Knock everybody out. If Whitaker comes back around when the washing machine filters everything out, that's fine. Whoop him again.
The only way I think we get an Adesanya like other super fight is if they introduce like a maybe like I don't know, like a 195, like a different weight class like that. Because that 205 to 185, that's a huge jump, and I don't. We saw it once before.
Right, you want something more favorable for Adesanya so he can go and beat a bigger guy.
No, but that's what I'm saying. He's not
you and Dana White,
again.
I understand. You and Dana White want to put Adesanya in the best position you can to protect him. That's great. Just say that then.
I mean,
we could have avoided 20 minutes of discussion if you would have just said that.
No, but the weight classes in themselves have been a problem in the UFC forever. Look at a guy like Kelvin Gastelum. If you don't think there was like a 165 or I mean, like a one. No, it's weird that 15-pound gap from welterweight to 85.
Sorry, Kevin Gastelum had any discipline in his life, he wouldn't have any issue with the weight.
But still, there are those guys.
Now you're making excuses. Is what you're doing.
155 to 70, a Kevin Lee guy, a Michael Chiesa guy. They're struggling. They do well at both.
Sorry that you're you're not naturally at a good weight. I mean, that's
but
again, we're supposed to adjust weight classes for these guys. Stop it.
Why can't the UFC have a couple more weight classes?
No, they don't need it.
No. Why? No.
Boxing has all of them.
Yeah, and that's really great. Hasn't that with the 35 belts per division? Yeah, that's working out really well.
But not 35.
As is Jared's
more.
Bum of the Month Club. That's really done wonders for the sport of boxing, hasn't it? All these guys not fighting each other. It's done wonders for the sport. It's why we spent 80% of this show talking about the UFC.
They fought twice. He beat him twice. Stop acting like they never fought and they beat each other in the boxing thing. No, they fought twice and he beat him twice.
In the first fight, in the middle of what was Whitaker's best barrage of punches, he got slipped. That's why I hate knockouts. Hey, he knocked him out in the second round. He slipped him. He got lucky. That shouldn't have happened.
Knockouts?
Oh.
This fight was more indicative of the fight you would have expected between Adesanya and Whitaker.
I'll give you that. Yes, I will take that. Yes.
Hi, welcome to our combat sports podcast, Throwing Jabs. We hate knockouts. Let's get started with the show. Get out of here.
I don't hate knockouts. Let me be clear here.
Joe, Jace, we got to cut that out. I hate knockouts.
All right, you ready for this? I don't like knockouts. I would rather see two guys go the distance because, like with this fight, I can go back with my pencil, and I'm like, oh, one for him, one for him, one for him. That's what I do. No, I don't like grappling. That's not what I said, but that's funny. No, that's funny. That's funny. Again, dude, there's a reason why Jace always takes guys like Lewis and Ngannou, the big knockout puncher, because he's very impressed by that. In Jace's mind, the guy that knocks out the other guy must be the better fighter, the stronger guy, the tougher guy. I don't agree with that.
No,
I've seen plenty of losers knock out people they shouldn't have beaten. So a knockout doesn't necessarily tell me who the better fighter is. It tells me who the better fighter was that night and in that moment.
Or in that fraction of a second. Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
Oh, and I understand completely your point here.
Still not helping though, is it?
No,
well, I mean,
no, not
you can't.
situation. Like I have to go back to, let's see here, November 5th of 1994. Your heavyweight champion is a guy trained by Teddy Atlas named Michael Moorer, who outpoints, outboxes, out-techniques George Foreman's 78-year-old ass for every round and then gets caught with a right hand he can't get up from before the end of the fight. Teddy tried to warn him. He's setting up the right hand. Forever George Foreman, well, I set him up. 42 minutes I spent getting my ass kicked and plotting that punch. Now, it worked, but stop. Please stop. I get what you're saying. It takes something away from the game. Scrub Scraps has toyed with the idea of taking something away for knockouts. That you don't want to stop the other person because you're losing part of what you're supposed to be getting. Scrub Scraps is different though, Joe. We like knockouts. And my favorite knockout is when Michael Moore finishes that fight in the 11th. My favorite knockout is when we know the guy is better and then they push forward and stop the other guy. Those are my favorite ones. When somebody gets clipped and I don't get to find out who the better fighter is, I understand your frustration. This is not that.
Oh, no. Listen, I like a 10th round knockout. I want you to be up 9-1 on the card and then finish the SOB. I want that. I love that. Those are my favorite knockouts. If the fight's 5-0 in the 6th and you knock the guy out, great. Yeah, I mean, you're just ending the night early now. It's a mere formality at this point. My point is if you're down 4-2 in the 7th round and you knock somebody out, I don't know that I could say that you were the better fighter. You got a punch in. So again, but especially, hold on, in championship fights especially, the first fight between these guys, the fight, Whitaker didn't get off to a great start, and he finally got into his groove for a hot second. He was landing, and then he got caught with the counter left, and it was lights out and game over. So again, I walked away feeling like, oh, right? I mean, everybody's like, and I like Adesanya. Please don't get me wrong here. I really do like the guy. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, dude, Whitaker's such a better fighter than that. And he was, my brother and I have talked about this repeatedly. He was literally having the best moments of the fight for himself there when he got slipped. So going into this fight, I thought, well, he can't stand there in the phone booth. You're going to get countered. You're going to get knocked out again, right? So what does this guy got to do? He's going to have to fight the fight that he fought. And I thought he did a really good job of that. So I was very pleased with the fight I got from Whitaker. If you don't think about the first fight and you're just talking about this fight was great by Whitaker, and Adesanya didn't do enough. He didn't do nearly as much as he did in the first fight. That's my issue here, okay? As I've said 100 times over, because you'd have a hard time sitting there showing me where you got 3-2 from. You really will. Here's my thing. I understand Adesanya's the guy with the belt now, and that there's something to that. And that being the guy with the belt, as I said, if the roles were reversed Saturday night, Whitaker would have left with the belt he came in with.
We're
okay?
To agree to disagree.
Listen, I firmly believe that they felt Whitaker didn't do enough to win the fight. But again, any of you, Sander or any of you guys in the comments, I'll come to your house. We'll watch the fight. You tell me where you see 3-2 or 4-1 for Adesanya, please, because I'd love to hear it. I think this was an accumulation of the entire fight and not necessarily a round-by-round breakdown. That's all I'm going to say.
Is this what I sounded like talking about Ortega?
This was the worst fight that Adesanya's had as a middleweight.
Let's rewatch that last Johnny Walker fight.
Not the Vittori first fight?
No.
Okay.
No, because this is another fight where I think Adesanya got a nice gift wrapped. Here's a nice win that you barely – I don't think you earned it in that one either, but there you go.
I don't know why you hate Adesanya so much, Joe.
Wrong again, Sander. Dude, he dominated him in round 2, and he also took round 5. Get out of here. 2 rounds at best. I've got Izzy one round, the first, and nothing after that. And I've talked to a lot of people that agree with that. So stop it. Stop that nonsense. You're trying really hard there. 2, 3, 4. Out of your mind. 3 and 4. Izzy was getting his ass kicked the entire 10 minutes. So stop that. Holy Christmas. Boy, you guys fall in love with these guys, and it's just like starry rose glasses. Get over it.
So you didn't fall in love with Robert Whitaker, Joe?
No, I like Adesanya, and I like Whitaker, but I want the right guy to win the fight. We've had plenty of fights where afterwards we've talked about the decision. It's not an indication of who I wanted to win. It's an indication of I watched it and I was like,
You just
okay. And then a couple days later, I was like, I don't know. To hear Whitaker say, I definitely think I did enough, I was like, well, I'm going to go back and watch this again. And in my second viewing, I was like, that's what I thought happened here. So there you go. That's all I could tell you.
Yeah, okay.
Let's move on. That's fine.
All right, yeah, we need to.
I'm not wrong, but let's move on.
History books will say otherwise.
You're right.
Jared, is this what I sounded like talking about Brian Ortega? Is that what I? Okay. It's interesting to be on this side of it for once.
But you'll notice that at no point have I offered up anything completely unreasonable, like shaving my head.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
Because we're talking about the past.
Pacquiao and Marquez. I brought it up earlier in the show. That was mine. Watch the fights. Marquez is winning these fights, and and Pacquiao's Manny Pacquiao, or Pacquiao as they called him when he first got called up for that.
Listen, I don't have a problem with Adesanya winning this fight. I just, again, to me, this was super close. And again, to write Whitaker off as, I don't need to see it again. I think that's a little much. Maybe if you could grant me one of these things, I would be happy.
Oh, yeah, like I said, when the washing machine spins around again and it spits out Robert Whitaker, I'm fine with that.
Awesome. All right, I'll take it.
Fight or two. Go beat Strickland. Even
I did, but no. Again, I want to be clear here. I never said that like this. They need to run this back immediately. I definitely think Cannonier. I definitely think. And listen, if Strickland loses to Whitaker, let's say that's the parallel fight to Cannonier Adesanya, then I think a guy like Chimaev. There's other guys in this division I think that certainly warrant a look. All I'm saying is I've heard a lot of people suggest Whitaker should move up, move down, move out, go find a new hobby. I don't think that guy needs to go anywhere. I think that guy's fine. He's got to get back, and I've said this a bunch of times, got to get back in line here. You go to the back of the line and you do work your way back up, but it's Robert Whitaker, and I think he'll dispatch everybody he meets between now and the next shot at Izzy.
Yeah, that is what he has to do to get back to the title. And the great thing about the fight game is it'll eventually work itself out. And the best, especially in the UFC, the best will fight the best, especially at middleweight, especially in the division.
I mean, I've made this point like 10 times, Sander. Yes, he was. But again, imagine if Whitaker was the champion going into that fight. You think Izzy did enough to take a belt away from a champion? No, you definitely wouldn't feel that way. But the situation was different, and Izzy knew he didn't have to do much because he's the champ. You got to come get my belt. I get that. I just didn't like it.
All right. We can go for hours and hours just on this, but we got some fights tonight to talk about. So let's get to those right after this commercial break.
Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Coming up Saturday night from the Apex in Las Vegas, it's UFC Fight Night. Walker versus Hill, featuring a light heavyweight bout between Johnny Walker and Jamal Hill. Let's break it down. Jamal Hill is 30 years old. He's 6'4" with a 79-inch reach and a record of 9-1-1 with 5 knockouts. From Grand Rapids, Michigan, by way of Chicago, Hill, a natural athlete, he passed up a potential career in basketball while attending Davenport University in order to pursue a career in MMA, making his professional debut September 30th, 2017, with a unanimous decision over Alex Davidson. He then won his next 4 with 2 knockouts before getting invited to compete on Dana White's Contender Series 21, earning his UFC contract with a third-round knockout of Alexander Popek. He followed that up with a unanimous decision over Darko Stojic, and then in May of 2020 scored a first-round knockout of Kitson Abreu, which was later overturned to a no contest after Hill failed the post-fight drug test. He returned 7 months later, taking on UFC mainstay Ovince St. Preux, stopping him in round 2 with a barrage of punches. The following year, he suffered his first loss to Scotland's Paul Craig, getting caught in an armbar early in the first round and having his left elbow dislocated while absorbing punches and elbows before the referee called a halt to the action. He bounced back just 6 months later, blowing out Jimmy Crute 48 seconds into the first round with an explosive one-punch counter right hook knockout. A dangerous southpaw who can move fluidly between stances, Hill uses his height and reach well to pick off his opponents at distance while landing his unorthodox strikes from seemingly any angle. Johnny Walker's 29 years old. He's 6'5", with an 82-inch reach and a record of 18-6 with 15 knockouts and 2 submissions. From Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Walker took up mixed martial arts in his teens before turning pro on December 14, 2013, with a first-round knockout. He went 10-3 in his native Brazil, with all of his wins and losses coming by stoppage before taking up an offer from a Scottish businessman to move to the UK to train. He scored 3 more knockouts in England before earning a spot on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, where he won an impressive unanimous decision over Henrique de Silva and to make it onto the UFC roster. In his first fight under contract, he dominated Khalil Roundtree, manhandling up against the cage and then knocking him out cold with a brutal right elbow. 3 months later, he took on Justin Ledet, knocking him out just 15 seconds into the first round with a wild spinning back fist, followed by ground and pound to earn his first performance of the night bonus. In a quick turnaround the following month, he replaced Oven St. Preux against Misha Kirkunov, knocking him out with a devastating flying knee followed by ground and pound before accidentally dislocating his left shoulder while celebrating. After a 9-month layoff to recover, he returned against Corey Anderson. However, he was quickly overwhelmed, getting dropped by an overhand right and left hook combination, then scrambling to his feet where he was stunned by a hard right cross, prompting the referee to stop the fight. 5 months later, he took on the always dangerous Nikita Krylov, but despite a few moments of success, he was dominated by the Ukrainian superior grappling, dropping a unanimous decision. After recovering from a bout of COVID-19, he faced a highly regarded Ryan Spann, and after getting dropped heavily twice in the first round, he was able to land a series of elbows as Spann shot in for a takedown. On October 2nd, 2021, he faced number 5 contender Thiago Santos in his first headlining event. However, despite both men being known primarily as knockout artists, they put on a tentative performance with Santos winning a lackluster unanimous decision. A long and rangy striker, Walker possesses knockout power in either hand and is extremely dangerous due to his unpredictability, throwing elbows, knees, and punches from a wide variety of angles. Will the measured pace and superior boxing skills of Hill make the difference? Or will the explosive power and wild unpredictability of Walker be too much to overcome as both men try to make a statement and move into the top 10 of the light heavyweight division? Tune in Saturday night to UFC Fight Night 201, and let's find out.
Oh boy, I used to really look forward to every time Johnny Walker fought, but now I mean I don't know. It feels like there's something broken with him. I don't know what happened. That first loss has just snowballed itself into a lot of struggles. Can Johnny Walker bounce back against Jamal Hill? Jared, you brought up Johnny Walker multiple times already this show. After that last fight, how do you think this fight's going to play out? Or you think it's going to be another snooze fest?
Yeah, I think I really hope the sleep loses. I'm rooting for Hill here because I don't want to see Johnny the Sleep Walker at the top of the hill anymore. His feints are out of control. There's 18 feints. His feint per strike ratio has got to be the greatest in UFC history. But not leading any other statistical categories or even competitive in them. And like I said, should he win, just watch the highlight and you'll probably see all the significant strikes he threw. So I'll take Hill here. I like Hill to win. I want Hill to win. But man, I don't like Johnny Walker.
Jeez. Oh, interesting. You're going Hill. I mean, even though Johnny Walker's broken, I think it's
all right. I mean, this is the favorite too.
Yeah, but Joe,
I'm shocked. I'm shocked Johnny Walker is headlining an event so soon after that last disaster. That's shocking. And the idea that you've got a fill-in fighter, I think, just makes it worse. I don't know. I think Johnny Walker, I don't know, like you said, Jay, something just isn't quite the same with this guy as when he first hit the scene. And it does, I mean, it really has been the last few fights where even the fight where he beats Spain, he shouldn't, I mean, he was getting lit up in that fight. He got off to a sloppy, tentative start, and he was getting tagged. And
one
then
of the knockouts you hate.
Oh yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. You know, this is a big, strong guy. I mean, this guy does really cool things, and that's kind of been one of the hallmarks of his career is that he's such a big boy and he could, you know, throw a flying elbow and he loves to throw the knees, but he was thoroughly outmatched in the Thiago Santos fight.
And tell me how he got here. Can somebody explain to me how he got here?
Dude, the highlight reel was very impressive until he started fighting actual, like, Jared, when he started fighting the
fights, you lost to Krylov, Corey Anderson, Thiago Santos, and beat Ryan Spann, who I was never a huge fan of in the first place.
Yeah.
Your wins aren't very impressive. Khalil Roundtree's on here, I guess. You know, lost 3 of your first 12 to people that...
It's a shaky resume, Jared. It's a shaky resume.
How did you even get here? And then you're going to look like late career... Oh, what's the guy's name that was so cute? It was one of the greatest performances ever. Cody
Garbrandt.
Cody Garbrandt, man, smoked Dominic Cruz. And then got knocked out, and after that was gun shy, and you never saw that same guy again.
That's a great comparison.
Full highlight reel stuff, greatest. Oh my God, did you see that stuff? And then just shot like a pitcher with the yips. Like, just can't, you know, quarterback after, what's his name, after taking the hit from Marshall that just doesn't have it anymore. And that's what I see with Johnny Walker. You look like a shot fighter. You look like you're scared. You lost that confident edge you had, and you've lost 3 out of 4 fights. Your last one was a snooze fest. And I'm with Joe. I'm a little shocked this guy is headlining a UFC card, because if he does that again, move up in weight class and go to Bellator, bro.
You're not wrong.
I don't know what to say, because I hope Hill smokes this dude.
Yeah, I will say with Johnny Walker, I love the Cody Garbrandt comparison. I do think Johnny Walker's jaw isn't as broken as Cody Garbrandt. I think he can still take a little bit of damage. But my thing with Johnny Walker is you have all this explosiveness that got you to where you are, and then once you get knocked out once, you start trying to. He's gotten out technical, and I don't know why in that Santos fight he tried to be all technical and try to throw all these feints. He needs to make it a firefight. He needs to make it a war. He needs to turn it in to where he can use his athleticism to land one of these fights. And that knockout, I guess, against Corey Anderson has just hurt him and made him not want to do that anymore.
Johnny the Sleepwalker has fought his last few fights like he's having a nightmare, that he's Macaulay Culkin in My Girl. And that's how he fights. And if I see any more of that, yes, I would change the channel. There will be boxing on. I will watch reruns of Impractical Jokers. No, Johnny Walker, don't do it. Don't do it.
You know what it is?
You better make that fight if he does. You better turn those feints into strikes. I need somebody to make the fight with this guy. He used to make fights, and he doesn't anymore.
You know what it was too, Jared? I feel like those feints, I think if you would have asked him, did you plan on throwing 45% of all your moves being feints, I think he would have said no. I think most of those feints, maybe half of those feints, just came from a real tentativeness. I think he was literally just kind of afraid of because he's been getting rocked, and he's been getting rocked early in these fights.
Cody Garbrandt it's just a great example of what happens. You get clipped, you get caught. You're like, oh, I'm not indestructible. And then your whole career changes. Chuck Liddell, that happened to. This is a different Johnny Walker.
But the difference between
he's not even making the argument for himself.
The difference between those guys and him is, though, I mean, I feel like Chuck Liddell, I know everybody was knocking him out at the end of his career. He was still going for it, though. He was still running in there and getting, the slightest, and he was out. This clown is just like, if I'm back here, you won't be able to knock me out from here. It to me, it seemed like it was a lot of that. Like, he was just like, oh, Santos cannot touch me. I don't want him to touch me.
And that's not necessarily a boring style. Listen, I love watching Rigondeaux fight. And if there's a track star in boxing, that's the guy. But he will hit more than he gets hit and show you how your legs can win fights for you. He's not doing that either.
No.
There's nothing here. There's nothing left here. Prove me wrong, Johnny Walker, because I think you're a shot fighter with nothing left.
I will say that this fight does have, I think he can prove you wrong here, Jared. Because I think if you look at the last couple fights, I mean, the Santos fight was weird. Santos, it was even pretty tentative and all those feints. But, I mean, look at the Krylov fight and the Anderson fight. Those guys are both wrestlers. Jamal Hill, he's going to bring it to Johnny Walker. So if
the fight,
Johnny Walker can actually land something, it's going to be a fight. This has a possibility to get Johnny Walker back on track. I'm going to be more optimistic with him because he's still young. I think he can still make a little bit of a run here. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here, but I'm just going to say that Santos fight was a fluke, was just an aberration. So I think he will go for something crazy. I think we'll get back to maybe not the same Johnny Walker, but still something that can win him a fight.
Huh. And Joe, you're probably taking him too. I mean, as a guy who hates knockouts, you're probably more a fan of Johnny Walker than you.
I do. Listen, I like Johnny Walker a lot. I was taken by him when I first saw this guy break onto the scene, but I think Jamal Hill is going to win this fight. There's definitely something is not right with this guy. Walker. Again, like I said, I see a very tentative fighter, a guy, and I don't want to say to use the word scared, but he seems scared. He seems scared that if he gets into it, that he's going to get hit. And again, you've seen the highlights. I mean, he gets hit in the head, the face. He tends to fall to the ground a lot. There were a couple of those fights where, I mean, he could barely keep his balance and he would get touched again and go right back to the ground. So I think that's on his mind. I think that's constantly been on his mind, whether he realizes it or not. So I am taking Hill in this fight. I think it probably goes the distance, though.
Ooh.
If Walker can stay that far away from him, yeah, probably.
A 3-2, 4-1 for Hill.
I like the under in this fight, to be honest. I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a quick one. I think
tentative Johnny Walker and an up and coming Jamal Hill here. I think you're gonna find a very tentative fight here. I don't see any other way.
I think I don't see Johnny Walker going back on that last fight. Going back, rewatching it, and then coming out and doing the exact same thing. I think, if anything, he's going to overcompensate for it. I think he's going to come out and start just randomly throwing these crazy things. And I think that's an avenue for Jamal Hill to knock him out. But I can't see Johnny Walker, this being the new Johnny Walker, just constantly throwing flames. I can't see that.
I want a full orchestra to be 1/4 of the crowd, so you have all the crowd and then you have the orchestra, right? And while Johnny Walker's fighting, I want them to
dun 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 dun.
Yeah, we'll probably end up with like a college fight song. Maybe he's doing something there. Maybe this is an old play the record backwards thing where Johnny Walker's got some kind of secret code in his or Parkinson's. I don't know what the hell is wrong with this guy. Moving on. Yeah, take Hill. Take Hill.
All right, now, yeah, I think it will be a fun fight regardless. But let's
Not
talk
if
about some.
Walker has anything to say.
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. But all right, fight of the night. There's some other great fights here. Jared, I know your boy Zepeda's fighting. Is that your fight of the night?
Yeah, it is. He's fighting somebody that he's gonna kick his butt, but it'll give you a chance to look at this guy that I really like, and that's what I think is worth it. Ray Bradley, another situation where he's gonna win the fight, but an opportunity. Luis Angel Viades. There you have it. Yeah, so take Zepeda, but not for much because I think he's got like 100-1 odds. And definitely get a look at this guy. Just look. I'm seeing things I don't see in a lot of places. When I first saw Justin Gaethje, when I first saw Loma, like there's sometimes I see these guys real young, Darren Waller, Chris Godwin. I see something and I go, there's a future in this guy, and this Zepeda guy is one of those, William Zepeda. He's going to make some noise in that division, and he's going to ring a bell tonight. And Mike Juan Williams up March 2nd. You're muted, Chase.
Joe, your fight of the night?
Well, my fight of the night is interesting because hold on, if it was 2016, everybody would be like, "Yeah!" Amir Khan and Kell Brook are going at it tonight. These two guys have a long rivalry. There's been a lot of smack talk over the years. And finally, in 2022, 6 years after they've sort of outlived their relevancy, these two 35-year-olds trying to hang on. Both guys have gotten beat a whole bunch over the last 4 or 5 fights. They both lost to my guy Terrence Crawford. But this will be a fun fight. Again, everything that's wrong with boxing will be on display tonight. This is a fight that should have happened 6 years ago. This would have been a major fight we would have been talking about 6 years ago. And because they're making it today, it's in the show end notes. So congratulations, boxing. You're really screwing the pooch.
But no, yeah, you're right. And I feel like this would be a good like co-main event on like give me like a nice welterweight championship or something.
Dude, 6 years ago, this would have been a pay-per-view.
Yeah. But this is what boxing's holding its hat on this weekend.
We're gonna watch that fight for free tonight. That thing would have cost you $75 in 2016. We get it tonight, it's free.
If Johnny Walker's gonna come out like he did last weekend, they picked a good week to make this be boxing's big fight. But
looking like Jim Carrey from Me, Myself, and Irene.
All right. My fight of the night: Natasha Jonas versus Chris Namus. Jonas coming up in weight. She's a beast. She's fought Katie Taylor, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And so
for a great fight too.
Yeah, well, one of the best fights against Katie Taylor. So yeah, it's great. I think she's gonna just take care of business. She is that one. I think she's very close to being on that level. And I mean, if she's coming up to middleweight, fight with Clarissa Shields might be in the future if the Savannah Marshall fight has to get done first. Right, Jared?
Yes, Savannah Marshall takes all those belts. I've been saying it for years, literally.
Yeah, all right. But yeah, and speaking of what you've been saying, tell us what's going on tonight with your Puncher's Chance.
I got 2 boxing matches tonight. We cover both of them. Linares. I actually like Linares better than Brook. I think he's way too crafty. Abdulaev has some learning to do, and he'll do some when he faces Jorge Linares. Kell Brook, I also like the under in that fight. I would pin Kell Brook to the under and Jorge Linares if I'm trying to hit a parlay worth anything. But these are the 2 fights I like on this card. Most of the other ones are blowouts. Linares, Brook, parlay.
All right. I like that. I mean, Linares, he looked great against Haney, right? That's who his last fight was. Haney coming back, and he had a long layoff. Seeing him be active again, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued about that. That was almost my fight of the night as well. But, yeah. So it should be interesting. I know it's not anything spectacular, but I think it's a nice, solid night of fights. You got a little bit of everything to wet your palate, but that's gonna do it for fights for the show. Yeah.
I just got a text message. No joke. I can't believe neither of them saw the Whitaker fight like you did. It says. Appreciate that, people.
All right. I mean,
one person. I'm gonna take it though.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of crazy people in the world, you know. You gotta find.
I gotta find a mate.
Find your mate. Find your mate.
Oh my goodness. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how you can. But I mean, hey, I saw Holloway beating Volkanovski, and none of y'all did. So I ain't gonna judge you, Joe.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna.
I actually have some advice for you.
Oh my goodness. Oh jeez. Okay. You know what? That's gonna do it for today's show. Oh my gosh. If you wanna go check out Joe, just keep following the show. Joe's probably gonna rant even more about Whitaker. You can follow him on Twitter and all that stuff. Joe, keep going. Tell probably Izzy and Whitaker fight again. So in a couple years. So
that's what I did with Vittori. So crush.
Yeah.
I waited it out, didn't I? Got what I wanted. Next time I'm gonna get the win too.
Oh baby. Oh my goodness. All right. That's gonna do it for myself, Big Jace, Joe Guai, Jared Jones, and the fights. We got and make sure you check out clovercrestmedia.com for not just great sports podcasts like this, like Posting Up, John about the G-Men, Keys to the City.
Where I say things like I don't like touchdowns. I am a Giants fan after all.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Just trade our one for a kicker.
Hey, Graham Gano's a beast. They just can't get into field goal range.
Nice. Can he block?
Yeah, that's why he wasn't a Pro Bowler this year. They just couldn't get into field goal range. Graham Gano, Pro Bowl every year. But all right.
The more you know.
Yeah, but that's gonna do it for us. We'll catch you next week to recap Walker versus Hill and preview all the upcoming fights then. So take care, everyone.
Throwing jabs, always full send. Here we go again. Jared, Joe, and Jay's Clovercrest, top 3 corner man. Punching in with a puncher's chance. We find a way to win. The main event, locked it in every Saturday at 10. The overhand is out of hand when it comes to fisticuffs. Slide a hand on the undercard, you'll never see the punch. Uppercut, got you missing weight, feet are stepping late. Keep your guard up, feeling faint from a feint. Take a stand and eight, then retaliate. Put up your duke, stick and move, bob and weave. Don't lose hope against the ropes, there's always an escape. Never stay down. One more round, bells ringing. Counter punch with your chin tucked and go down swinging. We bringing crosses with no worship, hooks with no verses, combinations with no locks. When you feel the flurry of curtains, from scrub scraps to fight stats, relax if you want the facts, cause the best combat podcast is Throwing Jabs.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.